My name is Graham Smith. I'm Professor of Politics at the University of Westminster, and I'm currently a visiting scholar at CEVIPOF at Sciences Po. I work on democratic innovation in the face of the climate crisis, so how to involve everyday citizens in politics. And that was very attractive for me to come to Sciences Po because there is a particular faculty who work on that issue. And then also in Paris, there are a number of other academics and activists and practitioners working in the field. So I've been working on two things while I've been in Paris. The first is on climate assemblies, or confrontation citoyen. I've been meeting with people who are experts in that field in Paris. And at the same time, I've actually published a short book while I've been here called We Need to Talk About Climate. And I've been also opening up a new area of research around how bureaucracies can respond better to participatory processes. So the question about how do you mainstream participation within bureaucracies. And being in Paris has allowed me to interview people within the French administration and also the city administration about some of the developments that are taking place in France. The stay in Paris has been really valuable for my research. Most importantly, is just to have time. It's nice to have that space, but it's a really conducive environment for doing research. The research centre, CEVIPOF, I've been exchanging with some of the colleagues there, in particular Bernard Weber, and also with the interdisciplinary environment group, AIR. That's been a really interesting group of colleagues. It's also provided me with the space to meet other academics in Paris and also practitioners and activists who work on similar issues as me. So it's been really positive experience for me to understand the French approach to participatory government and to climate politics in first hand, rather than just reading about it. So it's been really positive. In research, it's been just fantastic to exchange with other researchers working in similar areas. And I'm surprised how fantastic the teaching has been, actually. I've really enjoyed engaging with Sciences Po students. I taught a class on climate assemblies, which is a bit unusual, and they responded really well. So I was delighted about that. So I taught a class on the politics of climate assemblies in Reims. And that looks at a very specific way of engaging everyday citizens in decision-making around climate. And that's a really unusual, very specific thing for social science and politics students to be looking at. They're normally looking at states and kind of comparing different political systems, etc. But this was really, so for when they walked in the room, none of them knew anything about it at all. So we spent 12 weeks looking at different aspects of climate assemblies and the kinds of impacts they have and how that impact could be increased. And I also did it in a very participatory way. So I involved the students, it was very student-led. Halfway through the course, we rewrote the rest of the curriculum based on what they'd learned and what they were interested in. And I think some of the students were a bit shocked about the way that I kind of involved them so much in the sort of designing the pedagogy. But it was really good, and my sense is that they left the room enthused. They left the classroom thinking that other ways of doing politics are possible. And I don't think that's always the case for political science students. Sometimes they leave the room with very sort of negative views about politics. I think I enthused them about the potential of climate assemblies. During my visit, I've had lots of opportunities to engage with colleagues and with students. I've been teaching on other colleagues' courses, coming in and talking about climate assemblies to their students, which has been really interesting and a lot of fun, as well as my own students who I've been working with in a much more participatory way than I think they're used to. I was teaching them about democracy, so I wanted to democratise the classroom, which was kind of fun. And then I've also been involved with the interdisciplinary environment group in the in the university, gone to a couple of their seminars and exchanged with people there. So it's been really nice. It's been really open and have a lot of chance to have a lot of really helpful conversations, and yeah, been really profitable. I'll be teaching a masterclass hosted by Université Paris Cité in collaboration with Sciences Po on the Promise of Climate Assemblies. This is a long title. The Promise of Climate Assemblies, Good Governance or Revolutionary Confrontation with the Carbon State. I had to think. The premise of it is to try to get students to understand the different possible futures for climate assemblies. So on one hand, we've got the OECD, the International Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, which is promoting climate assemblies as a form of a way to do government better. That's the good governance bit. And on the other side, we have radical activists coming out of Extinction Rebellion, like Roger Hallam, who are saying that if done properly, climate assemblies are ways of challenging the state, which is implicated in the climate crisis. So it's a question of, is this a way of doing existing policy better? Or is this a way of doing a different kind of politics completely? And, you know, this is a really prescient and live question, because where should we be putting our energy? Should we be putting our energy into supporting governments do this work, or supporting civil society? I definitely have plans to stay in contact with and potentially collaborate with colleagues I've met. We have shared agendas around democracy and climate. So I can't see that just having spent 3 months here, not carrying on those relationships would be crazy. And so I can see that developing. And I've also developed collaborations with civil society organizations in Paris, like Mission Publique, who deliver citizens' assemblies, confrontation citoyen, and we're developing work at the moment on how to communicate assemblies better. So it's been, I can imagine that having been in Paris, those relationships, both with Sciences Po and with civil society in Paris, will continue.